Before we get started, I just want to remind everyone that this episode is brought to you by our patrons like AutomusX and Bobby Meow. Thanks for your support, guys. If you like what we do and want to support us, consider backing us on Patreon. You can get episodes early, Discord integrations, and lots of other goodies. Thanks for your time. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is time once again to talk about Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures by Fantasy Flight Games. I am super loud right now, because I am super excited, and hopefully Normalize levels that out so it doesn't hurt your ears, I'm sorry. But yes, hey, guess what? FFG finally doing some news. There was a Legion announcement yesterday, and then there was also an X-Wing announcement, but this episode is like a day later because it's going to be long and it's going to take me a while. Yes, I'm pre-warning you now. This episode will probably be long. I'm looking at my notes for this. Hoo boy, we got a lot of stuff to cover, but it's a preview for Saw's Renegades, that's right. Wave 14's double pack, an unprecedented pack. It's got our X-Wing fix, it's got our U-Wing fix, maybe. Lots of other stuff. Based on the image, I actually thought this would just be the X-Wing preview, but no, it's the whole pack. They talk about some of the U-Wing stuff in here, too, though there's still some unrevealed stuff. We'll get to that at the end. But, there's not really much point in keeping you, just, letting you know that, here's the U-Wing and X-Wing preview. Hopefully the TIE Reaper will be next week, or maybe it'll be this week, because FFG seems like they're getting a lot of their previews and news out of the way before May 1st, when they've got some new announcements coming. On the X-Wing front, I'm hoping some more solo tie-ins, because that'll be closer. Like the Heavy TIE or the Falcon. But anyway, I've already kept you too long in the intro. Let's jump into the upgrades. We've got a big one coming up. And so we start at the big one, Servo Motor S-Foils, the new Dueling Card. This is a modification, it's a dual card. It says T65 X-Wing only. Now, so far, the mock-ups on the new X-Wings only say X-Wing, so we're assuming that there's going to be a rule insert, because it's a big box. There's going to be a rule insert that clarifies that regular X-Wings are T65 X-Wings, but still. Anyway. Yeah, it's great. Alright, let's go through it. So, if your S-foils are closed, reduce your primary attack value by 1. Your action bar gains boost. Not the boost icon, it gains boost. Treat your 2 bank maneuvers as green. At the start of the activation phase, you may flip this card. And then, in attack position, your action bar gains barrel roll. If you are not stressed when you reveal a 3-turn maneuver, either way, you may treat it as a red Talon Roll maneuver in the same direction. At the start of the activation phase, you may flip this card. So, now X-Wings do everything for 0 points. It's brilliant. +1 health for integrated astromech is great, but if nothing else, this keeps them cheap because it's 0 points, which is amazing. Nobody thought it would be 0 points, I don't think. But now you can boost if you're closed, but to do so, you have to sacrifice your attack value by 1. You gotta go down to 2 attack, which sucks butts a lot. But you get some extra green banks out of there. You can turn that into a regen thing or some other procs with astromechs, which is really cool. And then if they're open, you get access to Talon rolls and barrel rolls, just instinctively. Really good. And of course, the best thing is, unlike the pivot wing, you can flip at the start of the activation phase. So when it starts, you pick your maneuver. You can keep them closed if you want to boost. You can keep them open if you want to barrel roll or Talon roll. Just in general, I think it's good. I do like, though, that it's not just S-foils, it specifically says servo motor S-foils, so you can, if you're one of those guys who are concerned about the nature of things, it's clearly like a modification to the S-foils, maybe to make them attack and pop open and closed in a combat maneuver time. It has very clear positives and negatives to both attack and defense. Like, your T-70 can still boost on its own, and it doesn't lose a primary die for it. Now, it can't barrel roll, but it can also instinctively Talon roll already. It doesn't need to add a card to do that, taking up your mod slot. All in all, very good, I think. It's a very good mechanical space, offers X-Wings a lot of the flexibility of maneuvers they're supposed to get. Does have that interesting balance aspect if they're closed, that you can go faster, but you lose an attack die. It's a pretty good effect. I don't know if it solves 100% of the things that's going on with the X-Wing, but it definitely gives a ship that should have a unique identity in this game called X-Wing, a much more unique identity. And some people are like, oh, does that come at the cost of the T-70? Not quite, I don't think, because the T-70s still have +1 shield. They can boost all the time, like I said, and keep their attack die. They have the tech slot, which will continue to grow more useful. We're also starting to see integration with, like, the Resistance Bomber, that there are now keywords and mechanics keyed to them being Resistance ships that'll go for. That said, not a lot of people are playing T-70s anyway. But let's move on to the next big fix upgrade in this, which covers both the X-Wing and the U-Wing. So, let's talk about Renegade Refit. This is a T-65 X-Wing and U-Wing only card, as many people predicted, but some people were also skeptical. You may equip up to 2 different modification upgrades. The squad point cost of each of your equipped elite pilot talent upgrades is reduced by 1 to a minimum of 0. Torpedo slots, minus 2 points. So here's a classic. It's like Chart and Refit, only it's Renegade Refit. I do know there are some people who have fluff concerns about, oh, now all X-Wings are going to be Renegade, even the ones that aren't. But, you know, I gotta say, the game of X-Wing hasn't been necessarily super fluff integrated from the start. Like, there are good steps. Like, I saw somebody complaining, like, oh, every TIE Defender has the option of being an X7 or TIE D. Why do they have to? But that's their production numbers. The X7 is the prototype, and the Type D is the production model. Like, that's actually a good fluff step. Theoretically, you know, you can run light, medium, and heavy Seeks. It's just they don't say medium on them. I will say, the game doesn't necessarily represent the benefits of ships fluff-wise, you know, in lore to their mechanics. That's not always been a thing because of the nature of the game. Not even if you make it objective-based, I think that'll take place unless you radically alter the game. I'm not as opposed to radically altering the game as I once was, but at the same time, I think FFG's got some more production cycles to work out in this form of the game first. And in general, just not only from a mechanical point of view, from like a military point of view, if you make a refit that works, like if you make an adjustment to a vehicle that works, fuck yeah, you're gonna equip all that to everything. Like, if you've got a shitty M16, and then you fix all those problems and you make an M16A, I think the actual was the A1, was the designation of the first one that fixed a lot of the problems that original production run had, you're gonna move to those as quick as you can. So because the actual value of the torpedoes is not necessarily included in the game of X-Wing, if making them all Renegade models works, do it. But anyway, that's waxing a little too long on the complaints and the ups and downs. In terms of what this does, well, for X-Wings, it's great. You go down -2, so first of all, 5X. 5X is now a thing. It can be a real thing. People were concerned it wouldn't be a thing because servo motors might cost something. Nope! 0 points. Since integrated astromech is also 0 points, this means that you can, in fact, get both of those in and have something, you know, decently for a low cost. Let's see, what's the actual price of these days? Shows you how much people actually play with X-Wings that I don't remember that. But yeah, they're 21 points. So, this means with integrated, with Flight Assist or R2, probably Flight Assist, which comes in this pack, by the way, you can, in fact, get 5 X-Wings at 20 points. That's a thing you can do now. Are you going to do it? Fuck if I know. I don't really know if that's good. That's the thing that says that, right? Like, but it's definitely an option. At the very least, like I said, it lets you take both of your X-Wing fix cards at once, which is a solid move. It reduces EPT costs, which I think also helps cut into the overcosting of X-Wing aces. Like, your Wedge and your Luke, just in general, get, like, 3 points cheaper. What they actually are equipping is not different, but just their overall cost drops, which is good, because X-Wings were probably overpriced to start with, because the game designers didn't think that running 5 X-Wings was fair, and then we realized that the math doesn't work otherwise. It's too expensive. It just doesn't work. Now they're a thing. The Cavern Angels pilots that come in this pack will probably be around the rookie pilot cost. They're PS1, so I don't know what their mods are. I don't think they'll be outright cheaper, because that might be too much. But the extra gubs you can add to these, some people have theorized they might have an EPT slot at PS1, which would be really funny, but it would work with the Renegade Refit. But anyway, that's all speculation we don't care about. Now, what does this do on the U-Wing? Not a lot. It just, in general, makes your U-Wings cheaper by 2. Gets rid of the however many points you don't really care about. You know, you don't care about the torpedoes. I like that it had the torpedoes, but at the same time, I wasn't doing anything with the torpedoes. Now I need to double-check something, because it hasn't been a while since I played a U-Wing either, which is bad, because I like U-Wing. But if I remember rightly, yes. So, Blue Squadron Pathfinders are now 21 points. At the moment, there's only 2 U-Wings who can equip EBTs. That's Cassian and Saw. We will get to Saw in a second. In general, it's good. It adds more tools to your toolkit, but it doesn't necessarily break anything, right? Like, it's not quite the Vaxi fix for QRX fighters, but it's also still got its own flavor in there. It's not quite Chart and Refit, though I will argue that, you know, A-Wings kind of get a double fix because they have Test Pilot, and then they have the Chart and Refit to drop their cost, and then they also get their unique power that kind of combines the two. I think it works for both. Now, lots of Imperial players I've been seeing are quite salty. Oh, the strongest factions get strong again. Never mind that this does nothing for ships that people in that faction actually use. It doesn't Seriously, no, it doesn't benefit Nim at all. It doesn't benefit Miranda. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it really benefits any of the quote-unquote problem ships in Rebels right now. I mean, you might get some people who try some stuff with those ships now. Like, they try something new hotness, and then they keep an old standby ship. But in general, yeah, it's not really improving anything in Rebels that was already good. It's making things that in Rebels that weren't great, good again. Or possibly good ever, depending on how you think about it. And even then, most people are arguing it doesn't necessarily make the U-Wing good, it just gives it more flexibility. I will say, I agree though, it is a little sad. The TIE Interceptor, I think, joins the B-Wing Club for not really being fixed by its Aces pack and could use another one. I don't know what you're doing it. The thing is that TIE Interceptors don't really have any upgrade slots to lose. Like, I guess you'd have to give them a TIE-only modification, TIE Interceptor-only modification to, like, give them the EPT drop or give them an EPT slot at all. I don't know. Like, they'd much better benefit from it. From an A-Wing style thing where they get not necessarily a cost reduction, but get like a 0-point benefit to give them a couple of extra things, like a title which adds an EPT slot and then reduces the cost or something. You know, something not outlandish, not quite the same as A-Wing Test Pilot, but an improvement. The B-Wing also needs something. A-Wings, I don't know. They already got it. Their fixes gave them a good niche, it's just the gameplay has kind of moved away from that. We'll see whatever the RZ2 A-Wing comes out. It'll be someday, I swear. Boom, and that's 10 minutes just talking about upgrades. So, next, let's talk about pilots really quick. Let's just burn through some. So, Colby Sperado has been officially revealed. We could see it in the spread before. He's still 26 points. I think it's he anyway. Unique. PS7. After you perform a booster barrel roll action, you may flip your equipped servo motor S-Foils card. Decently. We got an EPT. So, you know, you can make him drop down to 24 points and equip his servo motors with no extra cost. At PS7, seems decent. You know, you can equip it with Veteran Instincts for basically free, and, you know, push him up to 9. That's not bad. Not much else. Just a good pilot to experiment with using the servomotor S-Foils, but I don't think, anyway, otherwise he's special. There's not much else to say here. Nothing immediately jumps to my mind about Colby Sperado. And next we have Lee Van Tenza, PS5, also has an EPT, 25 points. So, you know, Colby gains 2 PS for 1 point. Good deal. Leavin's ability is, after you perform a boost action, you may receive 1 stress token to receive 1 evade token. It's alright. Some people have already mentioned, you know, since you can boost with clothes, that means you have more greens. You could do some, like, regen stuff. You know, you can risk the stress to get green moves, but then you have to deal with having a 2-die primary. So people are already thinking of some stuff like using R7T1 or some other astromechs to try and, like, leverage that. Dunno, not sure. It's an okay ability, an okay pilot skill. I think it'll see some play experimentally. I don't know if it's, like, super competitive or anything. Much like Colby, nothing jumps out at me immediately, other than just, I think it synergizes well with closed. But hey, it's relatively fresh, we'll see. Now let's talk about Saw Pilot, because there's also a crew card for Saw Gerrera. We'll get into that later. So, Saw is a PS6 U-Wing pilot at 26 points. Seems to be on scale and all. Obviously, that means with a refit, he drops to 24. When a friendly ship at range 1 to 2 attacks, if it is stressed or has at least 1 damage card, it may reroll 1 attack die. Saw also has an EBT, which means he can benefit from Renegade Refit, as we said before. So we're seeing the U-Wing step more into that sort of support territory, right? Like, this is definitely a much more directly supportive. Obviously, Cass can help with stress, and Bodhi helps with target locks, and we'll see in a second, there's not going to be a pilot who helps with focus, but Saw helps you with attack rolls. And it can be pretty easy to stress yourself. You know, consider, he's got 2 crew slots, consider throwing Maul Ezra on there. Let him stress himself, for more rerolls. It's got 3 attack dice, 4 at range 1. You know, and it doesn't say another friendly ship, so you can do it for yourself, but also for allies in close formation. Again, I don't think it's a killer app, but it's definitely a step in the right direction for the U-Wing. I think people will be trying it, and I hope they have success with it. Like I said, nothing obvious jumps to my mind either, though obviously it does kind of go with Levin back there. But yeah, no, it's a thing. It'll definitely see some work, and we'll just have to see if anybody gets a real good click on it. You know what I'm saying? And now we move on to another U-Wing pilot who was actually not seen in the spread, which is very interesting news for people. So, we have Benthic 2 Tubes. After you perform a focus action, you may remove 1 of your focus tokens and assign it to a friendly ship at range 1 to 2. PS4, no EPT, 24 points. You know, solid. That makes him 22. with Refit, though he doesn't get the full benefit, obviously, because he can't get an EPT, but he does get 2 mods and a cost drop. Benthic seems like another solid toolkit chip there. I don't really know why you'd want to necessarily need to pass focus tokens like that, other than, there are a couple of ships who could use focus tokens and also extra actions. You can do a lot of weird action passing shenanigans with, like, Ahsoka. Don't know really what you'd use it for right away other than just general action efficiency. I would recommend just, if you want to try that, just real cheap, throw on recon spec so you get to keep a focus for yourself and then pass one, I guess. That's not super great, I don't think. It's been a while since I had to think quite as optimally because there's not been a lot of X-Wing news. But yeah, no, there's stuff you could do with that. I just don't know if it's worth specifically bringing Benthic 2 tubes. But we'll see. So let's go ahead and move into upgrades. We've gotten 2 crew upgrades revealed, besides obviously the fixed upgrades earlier. We have Saw Gerrera, Rebel only. When attacking, you may suffer 1 damage to change all of your focus results to crit results, crew card, 1 point. Now, I've heard some waffling that this is like Darth Vader, but cheaper, and it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. Vader crew lets you do 2 damage to yourself to do, is it just 1 critical damage? I think it is. Sorry, I don't play a super lot of Imperials. Yeah, so he does 1 critical damage directly for 2 damage, and it's 3 points. Now, I will say, you might think, oh, but Saw's better, you could do more. Yes and no. Saw, you still have to roll those results, and they have to not be canceled or modified. Also, you have to be able to modify focus results. So if you roll blanks or hits, they do nothing. And obviously, if you roll natural crits, he's not helping you either. So he's a lot of, like, situational stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still have to roll, you have to get the right roll to damage yourself to then flip those results. And those are just results. Those aren't even inflicting a damage. They still have to go through defense dice and stuff. So for 1 point and a damage to yourself, I think Saw is good. He's in a similar vein of hurting yourself to succeed, which I think is a lot of the theme for Saw. But it's not quite on the level of Vader. Like, that's just, I'll take 2 damage, you take 8 damage, and it's a critical damage, so if you don't have shields, then it's real bad. Not much else to say here. Not a killer app, again, but definitely does some work. I've seen some people talk about putting him on Nora with R2-D2 to regen. And then we have Magva Yarrow. Rebel only. After defending, you may acquire a target lock on the defender. Sorry, there's just like catch in my throat. But yeah, 2 points. It's simple. I mean, I've heard people basically saying this is a different variation on FCS, which it is. Obviously, that means they have to attack you to get your target lock, but it's still a thing that gives you target locks. Depending on what you're doing, you might be reasonably expecting to get attacked, so thus you defend it, but your opponent still has control, whereas you have control over FCS. They both got a slight delay. You need to attack or be attacked first. They're the same cost. The other thing is that Magva is unique. I think she's got a place in some areas. I just don't see it off the top of my head yet, but like I said, a lot of these pieces that are coming with the U-Wing that are clearly U-Wing geared are not necessarily fully clicking for me yet. We'll see if they come together. And that's all that has been revealed after nearly 20 minutes of episode. Hope you had fun with that. So looking at the spread, there are a couple of pilots unrevealed. There is a pilot version of Magva at PS5 for the U-Wing, and since we now, by the way, I noticed earlier, should have said this earlier, that Benthic is not in the spread, so that means that there's most likely another U-Wing pilot, because we need 4, and I don't think there's a generic in it. A lot of people are hoping for K2. I'm also hoping, but I'm not necessarily sure that's how it's going to work out, don't know. But hey, anyway, that'll be good to have. But yeah, so there's 2 U-Wing pilots still unrevealed, and there's 1 X-Wing pilot also not revealed, which is Edrio 2 Tubes, brother of Benthic. And then there's a lot of Cavern Angel Zealot pilots in the spread. We don't know the exact details on them, like their cost and stuff. There's also, what am I looking at? There's 2 copies of another something upgrade. It's not a modification, so it's probably an EPT called Thicker, like Thrust Correct, or possibly the Corellian Slip, or God knows what. Hopefully something cool. That's in there, that's not been revealed. Everything else has been covered. By the way, if you want to run your 5 X-Wing, you're going to need to buy 2 of these, because there's only 3 Renegade Refits in it. There are, however, it looks like 4 servo motors, so that'll get you enough servo motors for Epic if you buy 2 of it. Other than that, not a lot to go on in the spread to talk about. Also, I just realized now I'm looking at my sound wave, I was probably getting kind of loud there as I leaned into my microphone. Hopefully that doesn't come across too bad. Some of you, I think, enjoy my behind-the-scenes talks. Anyway, now that we're at about 20 minutes, let's go ahead and wind this down. Super excited This is really cool, really good stuff for the X-Wing and U-Wing I like. I know there's, as with anything, I just realized that you get enough people in a spot to talk about the same thing, there'll be some complainers. So there's some complainers about everything. I don't really know how to address those. That would be like a whole episode of me just probably trash-talking some people. I don't need to do that, so we're just going to skip it. And we'll just go ahead and end this particular little thing. Though I will say I'm hoping the TIE Reaper news is soon. Maybe that'll get some of the Imperial complainers from the Imperial Department of Complaints to shut up, because I think that'll be really good. It'll offer you some interesting options. But anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this up and say, if you like this video, please give it a like. Likes definitely let other people see the video and like recommended feeds and stuff, so it's a great way to let me know you like this video and also let other people see it. Also, if you have any comments, consider leaving them in the comments down below. That also, I think, helps people see the video, but more importantly, it's just, lets me know a little something, if you got a little something to say, what you're going to run with these new X-Wing and U-Wings, one way or another. That's always fun. And of course, if you want to get a more direct response from me, you can always join our community Discord. Great way to talk to people, set up stuff, get some chat. Don't get a lot of Star Wars posters, but, that can always change. And of course, if you are new here and you have not already, please subscribe to the channel. It is the best way to keep track of our videos. Don't forget to also hit the bell for notifications, even if you are already a sub. It's very important. That way you will get to know right away when our videos are posted. The only other way to keep track of us that is good is to consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get these videos early and lots of other goodies for low prices. And with all that said, this is the end of the video. Thank you for your time, everyone. Happy flying.